No one in life sets out to become an addict. Sadly, where we begin and where we end up are not as predictable as we might think. It's hard enough to see past tomorrow, let alone next week. But weeks and years connect themselves by decisions that define our future. The beauty of life rests in making the right choices. The horror happens in an instant and often without notice. When you look into the eyes of your children, do you see them as they truly are? Are you familiar with the world and pressures that surround them? And when they set out into that world, how can you be sure that they will manage safely within that life outside of your own? What is the most dangerous drug out there? The answer is very simple. It's the drug you like most. For some, it's marijuana. For some, it's tobacco. For some, it's alcohol. For some, it could be ecstasy. Whatever drug an individual turns to and continues to consume is the most dangerous. And we are all tested from time to time.
Social learning is a big part of our learning process. When we see a child, they will mimic a parent's behavior to the T. Right? I had two little daughters myself, and many times I see them doing the exact same thing that I'm doing. They're watching, they're looking for cues. They learn their social cues from the parent.
If you ask the teacher, well, do you go home and from a stressful work day, do you have a drink at night? And they could probably say yes, and that's not only teachers, that's parents. And
it's anybody.
Not saying that all parents smoke pot, and when their kids come home stoned, they're being hypocritical. But I mean, even when your kid comes home stoned and you're having a glass of wine or a beer, that you still have to be a good example and put your beer away.
So modeling from a parent perspective is very key to a child's growth. It's very important for parents to model positive behavior and not to force positive behavior. Because many times parents will want to be the ideal parent and they start throwing positive modeling down the kid's throat to the point where the kid's like getting suffocated. So there has to be a very a fun element. It's not too rigorous. It's very done with good nature and kindness and compassion, where the parents are modeling positive behavior. And then the parents have to think about their own lives. And many errors I see parents committing these days is that on the weekend they'll like to go drinking, for example, go out.
Parents will tell you, smoking crack's bad, doing heroin's bad. But, drinking is fine. A lot of parents are like that, and I think a lot of parents don't take a good enough look at the dangers of alcohol, pot, and, the lighter kind of drugs that go on. They kind of turn a blind eye to it because, they think it's socially accepted. It's fine to, go out and get wasted with your friends, but to go out and smoke crack is like this big evil thing, right? It's all the same. It's all the drug or the substance that alters your mood is irrelevant. It's what it does, and all of its dangers.
But our expectations as parents echo a different message. We teach our children far different lessons. The cues they pick up on happen after a hard day at work, in the glasses of wine at the dinner table, or the beer during a hockey game. And though dad or mom may not have a drinking problem, the cue has been set for social learning that relaxation is just a substance away.
Sometimes parents do things like buy their young people alcohol because they think, well, at least they're not getting it bought for them by some stranger, or letting them drink or use drugs in the basement because then at least they know where they are and they're safe. Those types of things send really mixed messages to kids. It's inconsistent messaging for them, and they need to know, no, my parents do not approve of my drug and alcohol use, and they're certainly not going to assist me in using it.
What's the point?
Not being to understand the question.
What is the most dangerous drug?
Wouldn't be able to tell you that.
Pardon me?
Wouldn't be able to tell you that. I don't.
What is the average age that kids start experimenting with drugs?
I don't have that much information in regard to that, but talking to other families and friends, it seems that when they're in grade 11 or grade 12,
ago was 10% the potency it is now. There is an association between marijuana use and psychosis. Why? Because people are using large amounts, and it's much, the THC levels are much higher, and the brain can't take it. It's that big push. And so, that's the big concern, is that these are drugs which can cause permanent changes. The numbers are small in terms of relatively, but when you start getting expanded uses of these drugs, your chances start rising.
I don't know. When I grew up, pot was not a big deal. I never encouraged her, it wasn't allowed. But in the back of my head, I thought it was okay. But the whole situation surrounding her passing was a guy that told her, that approached her and her friend and offered them free pot, and that's how it started. I don't know, when I grew up, pot was not a big deal.
Not a big deal. A phrase often coined by parents can result in tragic circumstances when these same parents neglect to understand that the drugs are far more powerful, that the pot they smoked long ago is not comparable to the cannabis of today, that one would have to smoke 15 joints in 1960 to get the same effect as one joint today. Simply put, drugs today are far more potent than in the past, and the variety of substances available to kids continues to grow. Being knowledgeable becomes more than just a necessity for parents. It must become a way of life.
When my parents are educated about drugs and alcohol, they need to know that their parents can give them the real information and they can give them the truth. They need to know that it's not really a matter of if, it's a matter of when they're going to have to make a choice about whether or not they want to use. And the more information that they have, the better able they are to make a good choice.
You're hiding something, I caught you. Right away, that puts up a wall between the child and the parent. Right away, that further enforces the attitude that my parent is my warden.
I became a narc and was constantly searching or looking and confiscating, but it never lessened. Hiding paraphernalia, covering the smell with cologne, perfume, incense, using eye drops, lying about it if they ask, stashing it in my room, anywhere from my closet to under my bed. Some using cocaine, blow my nose, make sure that it's not obvious, that kind of stuff. Basically just make it seem like I'm not doing drugs at all.